Hey everybody, thanks for stopping by. You just knew it was going to happen, right? Tank was running too smooth. Not a single issue for 5 months. Month 6, and bam, Aiptasia. These godforsaken glass anemones showed up literally overnight. I've noticed about 5 of them, so I'm sure there's twice that many. Now, what should you do if you get Aiptasia in your tank? Not if you get it, but when you do. Yeah, I don't care how many precautions you take. At some point, you will have Aiptasia in your Reef Aquarium. But don't panic. There are several ways to deal with the problem. Now, the big ones, the ones that I can get to anyway, I'm going to use Joe's Juice. Now, there are several similar products out there like Aiptasia X, or you can use lemon juice or cockwasher. It won't harm your tank if you're not shooting it directly on a coral or somewhere else stupid. Ideally, you want to get a good dose of it right in the oral disc. But being armpit deep with a dime store syringe can be a challenge. So plan on it releasing spores that will settle elsewhere in your tank. In order to stay on top of the new ones that will grow, I added a pair of peppermint shrimp. Now let's talk a little bit about peppermint shrimp. First, make sure you're getting true peppermint shrimp and not the camel shrimp that some have mistaken for peppermints. Now, a lot of people will tell you that it's a crapshoot with peppermint shrimp. Some will eat it and some won't. Well, I don't buy that, and I'll tell you why. The typical hobbyist will think that a pair of peppermint shrimp is some sort of magic bullet, and when their Aiptasia continues to spread, they decide that their shrimp just won't eat Aiptasia. There are several reasons for this, other than that your particular shrimp just doesn't care about glass anemones. First of all, if the Aiptasia is too large, these small peppermint shrimp will usually leave it alone. And in fact, if with a big enough anemone and a small enough shrimp, they could end up being the ones eaten by your pest. Also, if you have a handful of larger Aiptasia, you also have a handful or lots of small ones that you can't see or get to. Your shrimp are most likely eating those, and you'll never even know about it. Now, this is really important. Do not overfeed while you're battling Aiptasia. Like any other marine shrimp, peppermint shrimp love any kind of frozen food and pellets and live food, pretty much anything. If your peppermints are all fat on leftover food, they are less likely to eat your Aiptasia. You'll have a much better chance for success if your shrimp are a little hungry. Everyone wants the quickest fix, of course, but beware of some of the common remedies. A lot of people use filefish to get rid of Aiptasia, and they will gobble it up. But keep in mind, these fish also love coral tissue. Some will eat your acans and zoas and really anything fleshy they can get a hold of. I would net it out once your Aiptasia is gone and give it to another hobbyist or put it into a fish-only system. And I'm sure if you provide the diet they need, they'd be more likely to leave your corals alone, but that's really more doing than I want to do. I would use a filefish as a last resort, but they will clean it up if you find yourself ass deep in it. A great way to get rid of Aiptasia are the Bergia nudibranchs. Their entire diet consists of Aiptasia, and they are technically reef safe. But if you have wrasses or any kind of fish that pick at the rocks for copepods and crustaceans, they will eat your nudibranchs. And so will some shrimp. And at $15 or so a piece, that's some expensive fish food. But you can get them from Salty Underground right here in St. Louis. Go check them out at saltyunderground.com. You can research them right on the website, and it may very well be the right solution for your tank. Now, if you use caulk washer, be careful not to get it on your corals. It will burn them. As for you guys who use boiling water and lasers and shit, more power to you. It is fun to watch though. There are some really cool videos on YouTube showing people killing Aiptasia with lasers. However, I would not recommend using lasers in your tank for Aiptasia control. So to summarize, when you see Aiptasia, don't panic, but don't ignore the problem. These things can and will get out of hand. And address the problem with multiple tools, with an eye on throttling future infestation. And remember that nothing good happens fast in a reef tank. It may take a while to get rid of all of the pest anemones, but if you keep at it, you'll succeed. I really hope that you guys were able to learn something from this video, and you're able to use these techniques to solve a problem in your own tanks. Now, Aiptasia may be your first encounter with a pest, but rest assured it won't be the last. Flatworms, nudibranchs, spiders, algae, bacteria, crabs, chlamydia, the clap. If you aren't constantly dealing with issues and improving your system, then you ain't reefing. You're just watching a fishbowl. Results? Happy tank. Not a speck of Aiptasia to be found. Now, I left 3 of the biggest anemones because they were on the back of the rocks and a pain in the ass to get to. And just kind of hope for the best. Like I said, don't overfeed. I didn't feed at all for the first 3 days the shrimp were in the tank. Woke up on day 4 and they had torn into the large anemones on the back. And by day 6, Aiptasia was gone. Every last one. I did have one casualty. The no-name Zoas I got from Bahama Llama were plagued with Aiptasia and hydroids. You know those dandelion-looking hydroids that I usually see them on Zoas, but they can show up anywhere in a new tank. But just like the little white spiral worms that everybody worries about, they go away. So thankfully I was able to just remove the plug and trimmed off 3 polyps that had already grown to the rock. They were pissed for about a week, but they're opening just fine now and have room to grow without that awful plug underneath them. And thanks to a viewer, these are called Hawaiian sunsets. Sounds perfectly spectacular to me. Now, in the next video, I'll cover all of the other upgrades I've made to this tank. There are a lot more gear options on these all-in-one tanks than you might think. And I'll also cover the best $50 upgrade to bling out your stand. So, if you dig any of this, be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and be nice to each other out there, and try to have some fun with this reefing thing.